Tell you I'm the new guy, got the schedule all mixed up. Neve will be here tomorrow. I'm sure she'll do a far better job, and Colour, of course, back later in December. But fresh NAPLAN results, we will be talking about the Save the Link Road Forest, but it's coming up a little bit later this hour. Fresh NAPLAN results for 10,000 schools are out today, showing how students are performing with reading, writing and maths. We talk about this a lot, but I just wonder how organic the process is and how much it changes. The curriculum assessment body, known as ACARA, has uploaded the data and listed 50 high-performing schools in each state and territory. And we've got a couple of local schools in the mix of high-achieving schools, Cessnock High, St Joseph's Primary in Merriweather, and also Belmont Public. So well done to the kids and the teachers, the broader community at all of those schools. But I just wanted to unpack the latest NAPLAN results with Dr. David Roy from the School of Education at the University of Newcastle, who's been good enough to join us. David, hello.
Hello, Paul. Good to speak to you. Sorry I can't talk about forests.
Yes. Oh, you can talk about anything. You're doing yourself a great disservice, mate. under cement with, mouthful of marbles. David, can we just talk firstly about the significance of this? Should schools, should parents, should kids be worried at all about NAPLAN?
Well, people dismiss it or people get obsessed by it. Any data that we have that shows how kids are progressing can always be used in a beneficial way. And it's great when schools are listed as having high NAPLAN results. What's really important isn't so much where the NAPLAN result is the progression that's happened in the school. Has there been improvement from those kids from year 3 to year 5 or from year 5 to year 7? And if we're seeing a positive progression, then we know that something is good is happening within the teaching and within the school to support the kids. And we're going to remember, it's a joint thing. It's not because of teachers, it's not because of kids, it's about the school and the families all working together, if that makes sense.
The data doesn't show improvement over the period of time we've been doing the testing, though, generally, does it?
Generally not, but they're starting to bring that back in, and that's one of the things that we've got to look at when we talk to schools or we think about them. I was really excited to see the results that are coming from Cessnock and coming from Belmont, and also from places like Valentine and Elibana, but being a Lake Macquarieite, I think that's the collective term. I'm always going to be biased there. And to see, well, what is causing this? And there is some thoughts about some changes that have been happening pedagogically that have supported some schools, but again, it's complex. But one of those areas has been explicit instruction.
So that was a scheme, wasn't it? If you presented dud results, then they'd pour a bunch of resources to improve the situation in individual schools. Is that actually what's happened?
What's happening, I think, is multiple fold. The department is doing a really good job, and we have to remember that independent schools, and Catholic schools tend to get better results because there's a correlation between high education of parents and affluence, all in making for better academic outcomes. But within the public sector, they have been doing a double focus where they've been thinking about the quality teaching framework and applying that in schools at the same time as having a slightly bigger focus on explicit instruction to a degree, because it's not the be-all and end-all, and making sure that phonics and numeracy are being focused on. You can do it too much to the detriment of a wider knowledge base for kids, but the fact that they have been funding and targeting those areas is showing a slight improvement across the board, so long as that's not all you do.
David, all those criticisms of the approach of schools, principals instructing teachers to teach NAPLAN rather than teach the curriculum, these suggestions that lower achieving kids are asked to stay at home to make the overall results for school look better. Has all of that been cleaned up? Can we dismiss all of those criticisms?
Anecdotally, no, we can't. There will be pockets where that happens. I think it's being weeded out because we realise that's really bad practice. Because basically, if you're just teaching to NAPLAN, you're going to disengage the kids, and they're the kids that are not going to turn up for school, and therefore they won't be learning across the curriculum throughout the year. So basically, any schools that are doing that are actually doing themselves a disservice in the long run and actually their community. It's unusual. We do know there are pockets. We are still aware that for some schools, they encourage some children not to come in those days if they particularly there's been an encouragement of some children with disability, and that came out of our recent inquiry. So there's still an equity issue going on there, but it's much less because I guess the departments had got new leadership with Murat Dizdar, and they're really targeting equity and making sure that everyone is doing the right thing, because all kids are equally important. And that plan is just but one of many indicators of how kids are progressing.
David, one of the positive outcomes, of course, of the NAPLAN results this year is a rise in the number of students attending more than 90% of the time. It's increased 4 percentage points. What makes kids want to go to school? Is it an improvement in family circumstances? Is it the provision of things like breakfast? Is it more engaging teaching? What makes kids want to go?
I think it's all of those factors. I think we can't just it's nuanced it, because it is things like, are they getting good food? Are the families actually having support within the community? And that helps with the mental health. Engage teachers, when teachers are allowed to be themselves and not being given a script to teach, which has been happening in the past, and there's been a bit of criticism of that when explicit instruction was first rolled out. When schools are allowed to actually recognise the individual kid, and there's a relationship forms between the teachers and the kids where they learn together, then kids take ownership. And that's, again, I'm going to go back to this phrasing of the quality teaching framework. That's what that is about. It's about recognising, it's about teaching, and that's teachers and kids working together to get success.
David, teachers often complain about their out-of-classroom responsibilities within the school community. Does NAPLAN tell us whether the high-performing schools have less or more meetings than the lower-performing schools?
It tells us nothing about that. It is quite raw data, and it doesn't have those subtleties. What we do know is when schools have got other activities and the teachers are engaged with kids, not just in the classroom, but across the board, then again, there's better relationships and you get better outcomes and better attendance, and kids that become more engaged within the community. So having additional activities is good, but we need to support and probably pay teachers to actually do those additional activities.
David Roy, I appreciate your input today. Thanks so much.
Pleasure, Paul, anytime.
Dr. Roy is from the School of Education at the University of Newcastle. Joining us on 12:33 ABC Newcastle.